Yo guys, what is going on? It is FPL Jammy, and today I'm going to be doing a video on my personal opinion of the top 10 fantasy football strikers to have this year in FPL 2020. Now, these are based on my own opinion, so of course if you don't agree with them, then just leave a comment who you think you would put in your top 10 personally. But personally, I think these are the 10 best assets to start with. Now, recently guys, I've been gaining quite a few subscribers. I'm very close to hitting 100 subscribers, so if you can just help me and subscribe, I'm uploading frequent FPL videos, and yeah, I'd really appreciate that. I'm trying to hit 100 subscribers, so yeah, please subscribe, and of course remember to like the video. It really helps me out, really helps me with the algorithms get a higher place on YouTube searches. So yeah, please do that, comment, and yeah, let's get into the video. Okay, so I've started off at number 10 with Alexandre Lacazette. Now, I couldn't justify putting this guy any higher on the list, but I do think he is a good shout for number 10. He's definitely an interesting differential with only 2.6% ownership. Now, at the price tag of 8.5 million, I think this year Lacazette's got quite a low price point. I do think he can provide value. Now, if we look at the last 3 seasons, last year 10 goals, 7 assists. However, he did only play 1800 minutes. If he did get something more respectable, maybe 3000 minutes, I reckon that could have easily been above 15 goals, above 10 assists quite easily, which actually would have proved to be quite a good record. Now, the reason I'm putting Lacazette in this list is because I think now with Aubameyang as a midfielder and obviously playing on the wing for Arsenal, I think that means Alexandre Lacazette playing as a sole striker has got more chance to get into the team now. And he is the only striker, he is the lone striker. I do think that makes him a very good option. I do think he can actually provide some FPL points this year. And yeah, previously, just rough amateur, not the best FPL takings, but at 8.5 million, and if you don't have the funds quite to go for Aubameyang, I do think Lacazette is actually quite a good option. So he is rumoured to be on the out possibly from Arsenal, but there's nothing confirmed about that at all. So I do think he's a good option, and I think they actually started the season with quite good fixtures, I believe. Fulham, West Ham, okay, Liverpool not the best, Sheffield. Okay, the opening 2 game weeks are very good for Lacazette. So yeah, definitely a player to consider having in your FPL teams this year. However, I can't justifiably put him anywhere higher just because his previous records haven't been the best. At number 9 on this list, I've gone for Mitrovic. Now, Mitrovic, the reason I've actually gone for him is because he has a low price tag. Obviously if he was the same price as Lacazette, I wouldn't recommend him, but in terms of value for money, I think a lot of the FPL community would agree this is an exceptional option, and I think that's that's very much shown by the 30.5% ownership. Now, if you look at his previous years in the Premier League, he has been a goal scorer. He's got 11 goals, 4 assists that 1 year, 3,200 minutes, which is quite a lot. It's not the best record, but for 6 million, it's certainly respectable. And then we also have 2,100 minutes, 9 goals and 4 assists. So he's actually got a lot of experience in the Premier League. But if you actually look at his stats elsewhere, you can actually see that he's a much better player than it actually seems. And to do that, we'll go and have a look at his stats overall for other clubs, and we'll do that now. So guys, here we are looking at Mitrovic's stats. Now, if you saw last season in the Championship, he played 41 games and got a whopping 26 goals. Now, obviously the Premier League is a different sort of gravy. I don't expect him to do those sort of stats, but even 20 matches and 12 goals is very respectable. And if we even look, he plays at an international level, 8 games and 10 goals. That is really, really impressive. For Newcastle, that was obviously in the Premier League. But then for Anderlecht, again in the Belgian Pro League, 37 goals and 37 matches, and 20 goals. So it definitely shows he's got the goal scoring in him. It's just whether he can do it at the Premier League level that we'll have to see. Alright guys, again, so with another budget option, we have Mikel Antonio, 15.4% ownership, 6.5 million. And now has been reclassified as a forward. Now it's it's very important to note that in previous years he hasn't been a forward. So if you look at his previous records, they're not the hottest, they're not the greatest, but last year he did actually start playing as a forward towards the end of the season, and he managed to pick up 10 goals and 4 assists in the season, with probably over half those minutes not even playing as a forward. So I do think he's actually a very good option now. Obviously, managers won't forget that game week where he scored a whopping 4 goals in one game, and if he's capable of that, he's definitely a player people are going to want in their teams, because big hitters like that give you serious FPL points, and I definitely think he's a good option. Could even be higher up in the list. It's just we haven't seen too much of him up front yet, but if he continues to play up front for West Ham, what an option this guy could be. Definitely worth being on the list, and definitely worth being considered for your FPL teams. At number 7, I've gone for Danny Ings. Now, 24.3% ownership, very high. Great year last year with a whooping 198 points, and justifiably this year he's got that 8.5 million price tag. But I'm a little bit skeptical, hence why he's only 7th on my list. With a goal scoring record like 22 goals, you expect him probably to be higher on the list. But when I look at those previous years, statistics not so great. 7 goals, 3 assists, 1600 minutes. It's okay, but it's not great. Previous years his stats haven't been the best. Now, he did score a lot of goals for Southampton this year, but is he going to carry that over into next season? Potentially, I don't know for sure though, which is why I would say maybe wait on this player, maybe wait to see if he has the same form before getting in, because he's not the same cheap price tag he was last year. Last year, he was a very good value option. This year, it's more of a justifiable price tag for what he did, but do we want that? Do we want this value for what he provide? It's actually one I'm not too keen on myself, but he has to make it on this list, of course, due to his prolific goal scoring record. If we look at his fixtures, they're not too bad. Crystal Palace is a good opening fixture. We've got Tottenham, very difficult fixture. We've got Burnley, West Brom, and then we've got Everton, Aston Villa. Actually quite good fixtures. So I would say Ings is a good player, but for me personally, I'm going to wait and see with Ings. I don't know if I want to start with him personally. At number 6, I've gone for Raul Jimenez. Now, 22.3% ownership, again pretty high. 194 points last season, very similar to Ings. Actually the same price tag as Ings, 8.5 million. And for me personally, if I had to pick between Raul Jimenez and Ings, I would go for Raul Jimenez. Hence why he's higher up on my list. Because previous year 13 goals and 10 assists was decent, 181 points, and then this year it's 17 and 7 assists. If that can keep going up, those stats can keep going up, he is definitely a very good player to have. I do think he provides good value. I do think he's a little bit more proven than Ings and a little bit more likely to continue that goal scoring form. I could be wrong, who knows, but yeah, I definitely do think Jimenez justifies being number 6 on my list, so that's why I put him there. And yeah, let's go on to the next player. At number 5, I've gone for Anthony Martial. Now, last year he had his best year ever with 17 goals and 9 assists. Those are very, very good statistics. And obviously he started playing as a striker, now reclassified as a forward. I do think he definitely makes my number 5 option, because I can see him doing it exactly the same this year. I think playing up front is going to stay there. I don't think Greenwood will play up front. I don't think Rashford will play up front. And I think with Bruno Fernandes in that team now as well, they've got such a good attack that I can just see Martial continuing to get those high point returns. And I do think it's a very good option. I do think he justifiably makes the number 5 spot. 21% ownership, so a lot of people starting off with him, which is interesting because Manchester United don't even have a fixture for game week 1, so it's quite a high ownership considering they don't have a fixture. Maybe a lot of people have him on their bench currently, but yeah, 200 points last season. Now obviously it would have been less if he had started as a forward, but I do think we can be looking at some very high figures for Anthony Martial this year. I do think he's a very good option. At number 4, I've gone for Sergio Aguero. Now if you look at the previous year, and to be honest, if you look at just every year, fantastic stats, always had a high goal scoring record. Last season he actually had 1400 minutes played with 16 goals and 6 assists. I have no doubt in my mind that if he didn't get injured and continued to play at that amount of minutes, he would have got the most goals in the year, I'm pretty sure anyway. He's only got 4.5% ownership. Obviously Man City do not have a fixture at the start of the game, but he's definitely one to watch, not one to get right in your team, because we don't know how the minute situation is going to be with Jesus. We don't know his full fitness yet. We don't know how fit he is as a player, but he is definitely one to watch, because on his day he can definitely score a hat-trick and definitely get a lot of points for your FPL team. He's also always a good captain option if he does start. You just got to play the risk with Pep Roulette, where he likes to, rotate his players a lot. That is the only issue. Jesus could be also starting for Man City. Maybe Jesus is even a better option. He hasn't made this list. However, I do think Aguero is just a bit more prolific, just a bit more good in front of goal compared to Jesus. So that's why he's made this list, and I do think he justifiably deserves his number 4 spot. It could be even higher if his minutes were guaranteed. Alright guys, so at number 3 we have Timo Werner. Now a whopping 38.7% ownership, so a lot of people backing that this guy is going to come into the Premier League and hit off the cylinders, running very, very interesting. Now 9.5 million I think is actually a very good price tag for Werner if you do look at his Bundesliga stats. And yeah, I guess the only way to analyse whether this player is worth it is to look at his Bundesliga stats, so we'll go and look at them now. Alright guys, so here we are looking at Timo Werner's stats. Now, as you can see, last season he scored 28 goals and 8 assists, 34 games, absolutely phenomenal record. Now if he can replicate that sort of record in the Premier League, he's definitely a great option to have in your team. And I think even in previous years, 16 goals, 13 goals not so hot, and 21 goals. For me, this guy's kind of a wait and see for me personally, because I don't think just because he scored 28 goals last year he's going to definitely come all guns blazing in the Premier League. I think he's a player to wait on, but a lot of people are starting with him in their teams, which is very interesting. But for me, his previous years not being so hot is the reason he only ranks number 3 for me and not higher. But he definitely could be one of the top point scorers. I'm definitely not saying he isn't. So yeah, that's why I've gone for Werner at number 3. On to the next player. Alright guys, and so at number 2 we've gone for the proven Jamie Vardy. Now he's had a very consistent few couple of years, basically averaging 20 goals a season, and that's why at 10 million I just feel like he's such a safe option to have, and I think that's why he justifiably gets that number 2 spot, because he's guaranteed to play, guaranteed to play up front, consistently does well. And yeah, if you actually look at his opening fixtures, they're very nice. West Brom, Burnley, okay, City's a hard fixture, but West Ham, Villa, and Vardy is a player who's kind of just scores in random games. It doesn't really matter too much about the fixtures with Vardy. Vardy will just score in any game, and that's, I definitely think, a good player to have in your team. He got his best, well, not his best year. His best year was in the 2015 season when Leicester won the league, but very close to that with the 23 goals and 7 assists. It's very, very impressive stats in Jamie Vardy, and I think that's why he makes number 2 spot for me. I just feel like he's such a safe option, and I definitely think he'll be in my team at some point of the season. And so at the number 1 spot, I've gone for Harry Kane. Now a lot of people may be face palming right now, like, come on, don't put Harry Kane number 1. But is it because I'm a Spurs fan? No, okay, it's not because I'm a Spurs fan. If we look at previous years, 29 goals, 25 goals, 29 goals, he's had these fantastic years. And I do think his last couple of seasons, he's had injuries that's ruined his flow, ruined his form. If he doesn't get those injuries, and if he stays consistent, and with these opening fixtures that he has, Everton, Southampton, Newcastle, okay, Man United, but then West Ham, Burnley, Brighton, West Brom, he could start the year scoring loads and loads of goals and getting loads and loads of points in your team. And I think at 10.5 he's actually priced at a really good price tag this year. So I definitely would say Harry Kane makes my number 1 spot. Now a lot of people are going to agree with this, I already know. Remember, this is opinionated, but for me Harry Kane is definitely going to start in my FPL team. He's more proven than Werner, he's more proven than him. So I definitely think I will start. Everton at home I think is a good fixture for Harry Kane. And yeah, that's why I've gone for him at number 1 spot. Only 15% owned, in my opinion, that's low for Harry Kane. But yeah, definitely in my opinion, one of the best strikers in the Premier League. And I do think he provides exceptional value, and I do think we can be looking at another 29 goal season. Now critics will say Jose Mourinho plays too defensive for Harry Kane to pick up those sort of numbers. I personally disagree with that. I do think it's achievable. And yeah, definitely makes my number 1 spot. Now guys, remember, if you have enjoyed this video, please like, comment and subscribe. I'm uploading frequent FPL content. Now you may not agree with everyone I have chosen in this video, but it is just a insight, it's just a bit of a fun video to see. Have you got any of these players in your team? Let me know. And yeah, comment, let me know your top 10 for FPL, and also comment with your teams and I can rate them for you. So yeah, thank you for watching this video guys. Peace out, like and subscribe. Goodbye.